Hey everyone, it's Rob, it's 26 Bond from the UK. Hope everyone's alright, hope everyone's well. Today is going to be going back to my roots on YouTube. This is going to be a death metal and occult metal, black metal, the evil side of life metal video. So today we're going to be looking at some new releases that I've managed to get hold of. Some old bits and bobs from the collection, Ghost's new album. What we're going to do, we're going to start with a obscure old death metal release from a new distro that I've just found out about, who very kindly sent me this. Now this has been sent from a distro called TLB, which I'm going to put a link of into this video, their Facebook page, so you can check out what releases they've got and learn a little bit more about them. But Giuliano from TLB was very kind to send this through to me. This is a old Brazilian death thrash metal band called Obskure, Obskure. Now this is what Giuliano from TLB is doing. He's concentrating a lot on reissuing on vinyl old death metal demos. I'm not sure exactly how many he's released, but this is a really great start. If this is one of the first, and if they carry on in this vein, we're all going to be really, really happy and glad that TLB exists. This is by a Brazilian band, as I say, called Obskure. This is their 1992 Oppressions of Obscurity demo. Oppressions in Obscurity. That's the cover. That's the back. It's a 4-tracker. So say it's on black vinyl. First one, side A, Oppressions in Obscurity. Second song, Factoring Sarcasm. B-side, Noise, Death, War. And last track is The Gate to Suicide. Very nice package, this one. It opens up and it has the lyrics in there and information and credits and all sorts of great stuff. So if you're into on listening to this, bands that spring to mind, it's quite death thrashy, but it's got very black metal-esque vocals. It reminds me a little bit of Creator. It's very, very well played. As it's a demo, the production's rough and ready, but that's something which we come to expect from demos. And actually, if we want to admit it, that's what we like about the demos. It's the production values. They're not too glossy. It suits this music absolutely perfectly. So yeah, they very much reminded me of early Creator. Quite high-pitched, screechy vocals. A little bit like Creators used to be, particularly in the older days. And there you go. So it's a very good release from TLB. Very cool band, actually. They've released a number of demos. I have to be honest, it's the first time I've actually heard of them. And I was pleased that Giuliano sent this through to me to show you guys. Because hopefully you can get in contact with Giuliano at TLB Records on Facebook. And you could be owning one of these as well. Because, you know, I only talk about things that I like. I'm not here to sell things to people. You have to make your own minds up. I'm sure you can check out a few samples on YouTube. I think TLB have got their own YouTube channel as well. So check it out. If you like it, why not order it? It'll be something cool for your death, thrash and black metal collection. So just to start off there, Obskure, Oppressions in Obscurity. There we go. Very nice release. Okay, moving on from there. Thanks once again, Giuliano, for sending that through. And hopefully you sell lots and lots and lots, which would be great. The next thing I'd like to show you today is, this is the Hell's Headbangers reissue of Zombie Apocalypse by Mortician. They did very many copies of this on either black vinyl, I think, coloured splatter vinyl, or picture disc. And they issued this and House by the Cemetery, which I got as well. And I'll show you in just a second. This is Zombie Apocalypse. That's the back cover. Very nice packaging on these Hell's Headbangers reissues. As I'm sure you're mostly aware, that's the inner gatefold. So it's got the lyrics, credits, photos and some really cool illustrations. But the real great thing about these releases is that it's pretty heavy duty pressing. And it also comes with a rather nice poster. So you get a poster of the album artwork, which will look very nice if you wanted to put that up in your rehearsal space. I'll show you the record. Now what I like about Hell's Headbangers is they give you these really nice poly-lined sleeves so your records don't get sort of superficial scratch marks on them prior to even playing them. So that's a real thumbs up from them. These guys care about vinyl. There you go. So it's got a really nice sort of, to match the front cover graphics and colours, it's got a really nice sort of pale blue, dark grey splatter and lovely labels. Notice one skull that side, two skulls that side, so sides 1 and 2, which was a really cool touch, I thought. Mortician are Marmite, basically. You either love them or hate them. There's not a lot of middle ground with them. I like them. I prefer their earlier stuff. I think recently some of their later stuff sounds a little bit rehashed. But the first few things that they did, like Mortal Massacre, which I have on 7-inch, is a brilliant EP. This is good. This includes two covers, a cover of a Slaughter song and a cover of Repulsion's Horrified. But this band are really very well known for doing their incredibly long intros and outros. They sort of sample a lot of horror films and things like that. It's very atmospheric. Will Raymer, the bass player and vocalist, has got an incredibly deep voice. So they were really the first band, I think, really one of the progenitors of the gore grind scene. This is the other one I got, House by the Cemetery. There you go, on the back cover. Once again, it's a gatefold. So it's got the lyrics and very nice Defiler of the Dead graphic in there. Once again, it's got the lovely dark polyline sleeve to protect your vinyl. It's got the old two skulls on one side. Lovely sort of white and grey coloured vinyl here. And there you go, side one. And of course, because of the way that these vinyls are made, they all look the same. No two are identical. So when you buy one of these releases, you're really not going to get another one looking much like it. So there is that. This one also comes with a poster as well. Let me grab that out for you, which I don't think is quite as large, this one, or is it larger? It was one of the two. Oh no, it's similar size, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, similar size. So there you go. That's House by the Cemetery, Mortician. That's the poster. So once again, if you're in a death metal, black metal, gore metal band, and you've got a rehearsal space, and you need a little bit of inspiration, let's say, you know, why not buy this album? Not worry about keeping the poster nice and fresh like I do, you know, have it on the wall, and maybe you can invoke the unclean spirits of the Mortician to inspire you in your compositions. So there you go, two great releases, well worth picking up, but might be worth just having a little look on YouTube to make sure you like the music before you spend the money, because they do divide people. And I'm sure they're actually quite happy about that. I'm sure the band are actually quite happy about that. This is a bit of Finnish death metal for you. I've got this through a UK distro, like I did with the Mortician stuff, called Misaka on Ojo. Cool guy called Jesus runs that. This is Ascend to Chaos. There we go. This is a newish band. I believe this is their second release. It's a 3-tracker. There's 3 tracks to each side. Nice production values on this, sounds great. Once again, a polyline sleeve, music to my ears, and it's got like a really nice sort of marble effect, burgundy, deep burgundy vinyl, which is great. It's a really nice pressing. This is actually issued on the distro's own record label, Misaka on Ojo. I hope I pronounced that right, Jesus. And it comes with a really nice insert, which is quite creatively drawn with the lyrics. And there you go. So musically, these guys, hard and heavy stuff. If you like your death metal very heavy, these are the guys to certainly check out. Very deep vocals, very well played. Everyone's a solid musician in this band. The drumming's excellent. They got songs as well, so I like bands that have songs. and Gorephilia certainly one of those bands. So if you're looking for a nice newish band to get into, nice packaging but incredibly not nice music, Gorephilia certainly worth a pick up. Ascend to Chaos, recommend it. This is an old one I picked up from a record shop in Weston-super-Mare, which is on the southwest coast of England. This is an old American doom band called Trouble. This was produced by Rick Rubin. I think this was pretty much their breakthrough album. This is from 1990. So, you know, this is 23 years old. This is in really good nick. Quite melodic, not as heavy as bands like Pentagram. It's got like a lyric insert sheet. It's on Deaf American Records. This is in really good nick. I mean, it's almost unplayed. So this is the same label that Slayer were on for Seasons in the Abyss and South of Heaven. So it's really, really good. It's got a hype sticker on the front of this one with a review by Kerrang! Magazine, who gave this 5 Ks and says, "Fine performances, great production, cast iron songs brilliantly forged out of the heaviest metal around. The masters of doom metal have returned in dark glory." So, well, that sort of says it all for me. Some great tracks, great vocals. The guy's a real melodic singer. He's got a lot of power to his voice. And just a cool record. So anyone who likes bands like St. Vitus, Pentagram, Obsessed, bands like that, classic doom metal, bit of Cathedral, you need this in your collection. It's pretty awesome. Not quite as heavy as some of those bands, but melodic. This is another album I managed to pick up very, very cheaply. This is an old compilation record called The Best of Metal Massacre. As we all know, Metal Massacre was an incredibly... Let's move that a minute, it's going to be a light in. Metal Massacre really forged the careers of so many bands. Metallica being one. They were on the first Metal Massacre, where their name was spelled with 2 T's, I think. And they had a guy called Lloyd Grant on guitar. That was prior to Kirk Hammett joining. So this is really the best of sort of like the latter years of Metal Massacre. This doesn't include Metallica, doesn't include bands like Bitch or Slayer. It does include Slayer, actually, to tell the truth. It does include Slayer, this one. It's got bands like Flotsam and Jetsam, Slayer with Aggressive Perfector, which I think was on Metal Massacre 3, Metal Church, Overkill, Dark Angel, Sacred Reich, Possessed, Hallows Eve, Hellhammer, there you go, one for you guys that like a bit of black metal, Thrust and Sanctum. This is a Roadrunner pressing from 1988. This one was released. Very kitschy, cool cover. This one screams metal. Does it have an inner sleeve, this one? No, it doesn't have an inner sleeve. I'm pretty sure it didn't come with one. It's a nice heavy pressing. Actually, it's a Metal Blade, this one. This is a Metal Blade pressing. Apologies there, guys. This is a Dutch Metal Blade label. Obviously issued on Roadrunner, so it's Metal Blade / Roadrunner. This is in great nick, sounds great. If you want to get into some bands, sometimes buying a sampler, if you can pick it up cheap, is a really, really good way of doing it, because you can sort of sample a lot of bands in one album, and if you like this stuff, you can make that educated decision about whether you want to progress more. I guess these were really, really of their time samplers. It's when YouTube and the internet didn't exist, so if you wanted to check out a band, normally you would have to buy a sampler, or you spent a lot of money and took a punt on an album you might not like. That's one of the great things about the internet, is that you can check things out before you spend your money. So things like this tend to be a little bit more obsolete now. They're not made in nearly as many instances as they were in the 80s or even 90s or even the early 2000s. So there you go, Best of Metal Massacre. All good stuff. Now we have a little bit of Swedish death metal to show you here. This is a band called Revolting. This is their Ingrisly Rapture on FDA Records. I'll open this one up here. It's got a fantastic cover. Now, these guys are incredibly influenced by Lucio Fulci movies. If you don't know, Lucio Fulci influences a lot of death metal, black metal bands. These guys, Necrophagia, all sorts of bands. His films, including Zombie, The Beyond, House by the Cemetery, you know, that album I showed you by Mortician was influenced by that. So these guys, this is a Swedish death metal band, been going for a while. This was released in 2011, I believe, and it's a great package. Let me show you it. It sounds great, and it is great. There you go, that's black vinyl, which sounds great. Nice production on this one. Now what I was pleased to know is that inside I got two of the same. So one can go on the wall. The band consists of Revolting Roger, guitar and vocals, Grotesque Tobias, I actually think looks quite nice, on bass guitar, and Mutated Martin on the drums. There you go, there's a bit of a collage of their favourite horror films, and also the horror films which are have inspired the tracks on this EP. Because basically all the songs on here are inspired by horror films. And that's a really nice poster there. And you include the lyrics on that side as well. So there's influences from The Zombie, From Beyond, House by the Cemetery, all sorts of weird and wonderful kitschy old horror films, which actually, when you compare some of those old horror films to the new ones, they're far more eerie. You know, some people might say, oh, the acting's crap, but, you know, have you watched many teen flicks recently? I mean, it's like comparing apples to apples, if you ask me. So, to give you an idea of some tracks, there's the hideous side and there's the revolting side, and both sound incredibly good to these ears. Songs like Sucked Into the Sand, Beyond the Book of Ebon, which is based on The Evil Dead, The Devil Witch, Died of Fright, which was a song inspired by, I think it's called The Glass of Water or something like that, which is an old horror film, an old Italian horror film, where there was a trilogy of short stories. It was called Black Sabbath, and the cover of Deceased Luck of the Corpse is actually taken from that film as well. So if you want to watch that, which is a really cool and eerie piece, if you Google Black Sabbath horror film, and it's something to do with Glass of Water, I can't remember if it's, I think it's the Glass of Water or the Dropped Water, watch that. Incredibly eerie old lady in it. Ugh, horrible stuff. Dead old one as well, you know, horrible. So this is great. The band sound fantastic. This is Swedish death metal that takes you back years and years. The production's fabulous. The guitars really, really jump out. The songs are great as well. Vocals by Roger, fantastic. So I can't say enough good things about these guys. Once again, most bands nowadays have a Facebook page, so I would urge you to maybe like their Facebook page. And have a look at their stuff and get as much of their gear as you can. They do make rather fetching t-shirts as well, which look great, and I might try and get one. So these guys come highly recommended. I wish they would come over to the UK to do some shows. If they don't, I might even buy a plane ticket to Sweden, because I've got to see these guys in concert, because they're just brilliant. So I'm really, really impressed with them, and I must check out their other stuff. I must get hold of it. So fantastic, Revolting, brilliant. Now we're going back. This is classic stuff. This is Autopsy. This is Severed Survival. And this is one of my favourite death metal albums of all time. It's just brilliant. This is Autopsy really at their thrashiest when they were early. This is their album that you can perhaps compare a little bit more than their later stuff to stuff like Scream Bloody Gore by Death. That would be like a good starting point. Because obviously Chris Reifert was the drummer on that album, so he's obviously taken the influences from that when he formed Autopsy. If you added a little bit of doom to the ingredients, so a little bit of Sabbath style sludgy doom riffs, then you've pretty much got this album to a T. This is Severed Survival. This is a black vinyl reissue that's just come out, which I managed to get via Peaceville. Now I own this on blue vinyl as well, but I don't know, something about this album draws me in a bit. And I have to get as many pressings as I can. So on that side you've got the repressed with the new artwork by Kev Walker, and that side you've got the other one there, the original cover, which is a little bit like, I think it was influenced by Hellraiser, you know, and that guy's sort of ripped apart by all the stuff. So it's got the original inner sleeve. Done a really nice job once again with the reissue. Really happy. Once again, like the blue vinyl version, it comes with a nice poster. Well, it isn't very nice, is it? Let's face it, it's not a nice poster at all. I can't see many Care Bears and things on there. But there you go, very nice poster. So once again, you buy these 3 albums, you buy this, or if you buy the Autopsy and the 2 Morticians, you're filling up your rehearsal space with deathly artwork. So there you go. It's a really nice pressing. It sounds great. It's £13.99p plus postage via the Burning Shed website, which look after Peaceville's vinyl catalogue, and they do a very good job about it. They all send things out very swiftly, so I recommend that. Great songs. My favourite one, Service for a Vacant Coffin. It slays. Right, a few more to show you, my friends. This is an old compilation from 1992 on Roadrunner, or RC Records I should say, with a nice picture of Trey Azad-Toth on the front. This is Monsters of Death. There you go, and it basically includes a roster of absolute platinum death metal. This is another sampler album. So you've got Morbid Angel, Malevolent Creation, Death, Brutal Truth, Immolation, Gorguts, Unleashed, Obituary, Dismember, Morgoth, Pestilence, Atheist, Pungent Stench and Vader, and there's a couple of unreleased tracks on here, so it's well worth picking up. I got this for about £9 and it plays great. It's got the original inner sleeve. And look at the old labels that we all know and love. That's the RC Records label, you know, and on the back they basically say, don't take drugs, they're bad for you. And you used to look at that and go, they seem all right to me. But then you get old and you learn they're not good. They're not good kids, so stay off them. Yeah, so there's not a lot to say about this, but it's a great death metal sampler. They issued this on tape and CD as well. So I think this was in conjunction with Rock Hard magazine. I think they were a German thrash magazine that got into releasing records, and also video magazines when VHS was all the rage in the 80s, stroke 90s. So there you go, Monsters of Death. Right, now one of my albums that I've always wanted on vinyl, but I've only had it on CD, and I've always loved this record. It's got sentimental value for me. This is Broken Hope. Now I can only wish that this was reissued by Emetic Records on license from Metal Blade. This is their, I think it was released in '93, this one originally, and it had a different cover, like a black background with an evil green luminous chessboard on the front with horrible pieces doing things to each other. I always preferred that cover. This one's cool, but it's a little bit OTT if you ask me. That's the back cover. But they're a great band, these guys. This is Broken Hope, and they've just reformed. Sadly, the vocalist was committed suicide recently, I hear, which is a terrible shame, because he was a great death metal vocalist. Joe Paycheck, I don't know how you pronounce it, with P-T-A-C-K. So I wouldn't want to mispronounce it, but it would almost sound like Pachek, something like that, Joe Pachek. So he was a great singer. If anyone from the band can correct me on how you do pronounce his name, I'd be very grateful, actually. This is one of my favourite death metal albums of all time. This sort of missed the boat really from like the golden age from 89 to 91, 92. I think this was released, I'm sure it was 93, this one. I'm pretty sure it was. I'd have to Google to be 100%. But this is really, really brutal stuff. But once again, it's a brutal album, but it has songs. It's not just Blender. It's not just like listening to a blender going. There's songs and there's playing on this, and performances are great by the band. Swamped in Gore, fantastic track. Awakened by Stench is great as well. Incinerated, the first one. Its vocal patterns are just king brilliant. So I can recommend this release. Be cool if they did another reissue of this with the old artwork, because I really like that. I mean, you have to Google what I mean. You'll probably prefer this because it's a little bit, you know, maybe you won't, but you know, this one's got a little bit more shock value to it, perhaps. Maybe that sells more records. Well, what do I know? What do I know? Don't work in music. I just comment on things. But it's a great album. You can get this from Emetic Records, loads of distros. I'm just trying to think where I did get this one from. In fact, I think I got this from Amazon via TWS Records in Germany. So type it into Amazon or wherever you can, or even ask the band if they've got any copies, because it's always good to get stuff directly from bands. There you go, Broken Hope. Check them out if you haven't done so. They've released a couple of stuff. I think it was Fears of Grotesque and Loathing. They did a couple of albums, and I think they've got a new one coming out too, so I look forward to that. Brilliant. Last thing to show, well actually no, it's not the last thing, but it's one of the last things. This is a quite battered copy of Ein Nachtmusik by Venom. This is a live album, which is 2 shows, one in New York in '86 and the other at Hammersmith in '85. This is a great record. You know, you sometimes think that Venom are a bit kitschy, don't we? Everyone does. But they are the start of the black metal scene. Without these guys, you wouldn't have bands like Dark Throne or Mayhem or anyone. It includes all the inner sleeves, all on here with some great photos of the band in action. Not much more to say. It's a live concert. They played the songs really well. It's really quite a thrashy album, this one, of course. We love Venom. Yeah, it is what it is, but it's one of the better live things that Venom have ever done. I think this was the first thing they ever released live. And if you want to get into Venom, really what you want to do is get Welcome to Hell or black metal first. But if you like live albums and you like death and black metal, you could do a lot worse than checking this one out. On eBay, this goes for about £10 to £15. I think I paid about £5 for this because the condition of the coverage, you can see there is ring wear on it, but the records play alright. I gave them a good clean, and now it plays absolutely bang on. So if you're not bothered about condition of cover for things like this, you can pick them up quite cheap. Bit of Venom. So there you go. Right, the next thing I'd like to show, well, the last thing I'm going to show you today is this, and it's a bit special. This is Ghost. Now I'm going to try and say this. This is their second album. This is the Swedish clear vinyl copy, which I bought from CD-ON. It was a bit of a shame because some of the corners were a bit dented, and there's a seam split in the inner sleeve because it was sealed when it was sent, which is obviously the way most people do it. But they did refund my postage. But there you go. It's a bit of a shame because there's only, I think, 2,000 of these in the world. This is called, see if I can get this right, Infestissumum. Infestissumum. If a nameless ghoul could get in contact with me and tell me if I've pronounced that right, I'd be most grateful. Or if Papa could, can he sort of put me on the right wavelength? This is a great album. I mean, a lot of people have said this is very poppy. And obviously, if you've been paying attention to Ghost, they've signed to a major label, Universal. And people often think when a cult band signs to a major label that they're going to drastically change their style. They're going to go pop and basically sell out. Well, yeah, what would I say? Great songs, great playing. They're not the most of extreme bands anyway. I don't think their first album was particularly extreme metal. It was atmospheric. It had influences of bands like Blue Oyster Cult, Sabbath, lots of bands, Black Widow, Alice Cooper I hear in it sometimes. So I don't think they're particularly an extreme metal band. They're a cult metal band for sure, and I think a lot of people have got their knickers in a twist because by signing to Universal maybe they won't become that cult band anymore, but we shall see. We shall see. I love this record. I liked it when they sent me an email with Secular Haze. What they did, their marketing is very clever, Ghost. They sent an email and there was a candle, and you clicked on that candle and it isolated the tracks, so you could just listen to the bass or the drums, and if you put them all together you made up the whole track. So it was very creative. So there's a lot of thought which goes into this band. I love the songs on this. I love their promo videos as well, and I love the packaging on this. So it's got a very nice picture of Ghost there. That's one thing that does surprise me with these guys, where they don't use their image as much as artwork. Being a very visual band, this one's got like a really nice book. Being a visual band, visual bands in the past like Kiss and Death SS, now that's one to look up for all you kids. There you go, it's got a lovely booklet with some lovely art prints in there. There you go. superb. They don't use their image as much as a lot of visual bands like Slipknot. If you see Slipknot artwork, it's everywhere. It's in your face. It's the masks, Kiss, Eddie, Iron Maiden, very visual things. They're used, maybe overused. One of the good things about Ghost, I think, thinking about it really, is that they don't overuse it. Alright, their t-shirts, they might have a figure of Papa and things, and obviously he's on the front cover here. But you don't have like these album covers where like and things like that. They're very artwork based, and they do hold back. They do hold back a little bit with their projection of what they look like, which I think is quite cool because it gives them a very mysterious vibe. Clear vinyl, 2,000 of these in the world. Now I paid €24 for this. I don't know. It's going on Discogs now for like $100. It's ridiculous, really. But a really nice picture. He's having a great time, that bloke, isn't he? There you go, and it's got the lyrics on there. So pick this up if you're a staunch death and black metal fan, and you know that's all you like. I wouldn't bother with this. If you didn't like the first album, you won't like this. If you like the first album but you want it a bit heavier, don't pick up this. But if you've got an open mind, you like the first album, you like death and black metal, you like regular metal, definitely give this one a go. It's it might be slightly more commercial with this one, but I don't really hear it. I don't really hear it at all. I just think it's a selection of good songs, good marketing. They've obviously got a bit of money behind them now. I saw them live in Bristol, and it was a good gig. It was a very good gig. They were very good live. They were very atmospheric. So I recommend it. I mean, pick it up. I mean, it depends what sort of thing you like, but if you like the first album, I think you'll like that. So guys, it's been great talking to you. Remember, TLB Records, check him out with this awesome release. And let me know in the comments what you think about some of my latest bits, and what have you bought recently. Let me know. Cheers.